in response to the number of special advisors and senior special advisors in media and communication and orientation and, you know, all the many words that the president has currently appointed. The same president who has been speaking about Oronsaye reports now currently has special advisors for media and communications in so many regards. There's maybe like 10 or 12 of them that are supposedly speaking, you know, on behalf of the president. I saw an interview with one who was just recently appointed, and he was talking about how he is the senior special assistant or advisor to the president, you know, inside the State House, and then the other person is for outside, you know, State House. And that's what differentiates the both of them, you know, that, you know, he represents the you know, communication and media for the president inside State House. Then the other one.
So there's an essay to an
yes,
essay.
Yes, an essay to an essay, and then one of them is with the the Ministry of Information. You know, so that one represents the same president outside, and so Oronsaye report or no Oronsaye report, you know, we're still seeing a multiplicity of these appointments that make absolutely no sense. And I said it yesterday that no matter how many people the president appoints and puts as special advisors, you know, on communication, on media and whatnot, what Nigerians would really appreciate is that the president himself can speak with Nigerians. Because the statements that were released, if you remember, in response to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, not very many Nigerians can say that these things came from Mr. President, even if these were his spokespeople, you know, putting out these statements. But many people can't agree that these are the thoughts and the words of Mr. President himself in response to the former president. And so Nigerians would like to hear from the president. Nigerians would like to see Mr. President. I've said this thing for months, that when there's critical issues that bother the Nigerian people on our economy, on our security, on infrastructure, on loans that are being taken, on healthcare, every single detail, that Mr. President himself can address the media, address journalists, and express himself and defend some of his policies and his tactics. These spokespersons aren't who Nigerians necessarily want to hear from. Even if you hire 100 of them, it is the president that Nigerians would love to hear from directly.
I agree. I agree. I mean, in addition to the Minister of Information, who is Honorable Malagi, in case you do not know, you're wondering what we're talking about, the current administration and the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has a total of about 13 essays. Yeah. Well, let me quickly see if I can break it down for you quickly before we go for our top stories. There's Daniel Bwala, who had initially come in as the special advisor on public communication and media, but then has been moved to another portfolio, but still within the communication space. You also have Bayo Nanuga. You have Sunday Dare. Both of them yesterday had responded likewise to the president's, according to them, the president's directive on what the former president had said, President Olusegun Obasanjo, and they did a long thread that you would possibly get tired of reading if you go on Twitter or X, now known as X. There's Tunde Rahman, Senior Special Assistant to the President. You also have Abdulaziz, that's 5. Ortega Ogara, 6. You have Tope Ajayi, 7. The list goes on. There's one who's very quiet. When he was made a special advisor, a lot of Nigerians thought, okay, fine, but let's get to see what he's really going to do when he gets into that office, because he was one of those who stood behind. I was somewhat seemingly talking against the former administration, and I'm talking about Mr. Fela Durotoye. Yeah. He's also an SA. There's Nosa Asemota, also an SA. There's Frederick Nwabufo, an SA. There's Mrs. Linda Nwabuwa Akibe, also an SA. And then you also have Aliyu Audu. If you put all of this together, you have about a total of 13 essays and 1 Minister of Information, a total of 14. Don't forget that each of these essays would also have their orderlies. Also, they will have essays to the essays. Well,
And you remember
Nigerians.
that there's also Sunday Dari, the former Minister of Sports.
Yes, he's there. I did mention
okay.
his name as well.
Okay, brilliant.
Adding all of that together, about a total of 13. You've not mentioned the PAs to the essays, and then the essays to the essays, and then the sub essays and the orderlies.
Yeah.
I think we really need to tighten our belts at this point.
Anyway.